Tweaktown's GDC 2016 coverage is brought to you by NVIDIA. The second VR demo that NVIDIA walked us through at the Game Developers Conference was Industrial Light and Magic's ILM X Labs Star Wars Trials of Tatooine. It made perfect use of the HTC Vive headset, but even better use of the Lighthouse controllers that come with Valve's VR headset. With the VR experience starting off with the iconic Star Wars text crawl and dropping you onto the planet. Once you're on the planet, you get accustomed to walking around a little bit, and then you see the Millennium Falcon flying straight over your head, slowing down and landing right next to you. None other than R2-D2 rolls down off of the Falcon with an awesome voiceover with what sounds like Han Solo, but it's actually not Harrison Ford, asking you to help R2 fix the ship. You end up having to press a couple of buttons. Once the buttons are pressed, you see a couple of TIE fighters come across and they start blasting away at the ship. Once they fly overhead, Han Solo blasts them out of the sky. They end up crashing, and then Han Solo needs to go off, and he needs to have you fix the ship just before he leaves. You press an extra couple of buttons, the ship is fixed, but you need to protect R2 while Han Solo goes and handles something. As soon as the Millennium Falcon takes off, a bunch of stormtroopers come over the hill. R2-D2 hands you over a lightsaber. And using that lightsaber in the VR world might not sound like much because you can only hear my voice and the video that you're watching while you're watching this, but when you're standing there and you are holding one of those controllers, it really does feel like you're holding a lightsaber. It is the closest thing that you can have to being in the movie. It was, as a Star Wars fan, you would love this. Anyone would love this. Even for me, I'm not that much of a Star Wars fan, and I walked out as a fanboy. So as the stormtroopers come rolling over the mountain, you've got to use your lightsaber and deflect the lasers coming at you, protecting R2-D2, firing them back into the stormtroopers and taking them out. Industrial Light and Magic put a fair amount of effort into this because it looked like the stormtroopers coming over the mountain were actually motion captured and not just normal graphics that you see in a video game. It really led to the whole experience because you're in a VR world and you want things to look even more realistic. If it looks like an amplified video game, it's not going to help. But this was absolutely not like that. It looked like you were in a movie in a 360-degree world that you got to participate in. You didn't get to move all that much in the VR experience, but what you could do was awesome. Using a lightsaber was all I needed to do to convince me that it was one of the best VR demos that we've tried at GDC so far.